Well, I can remember back about 30 or some years ago, you wasn't that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can too. I remember them days.
Yeah, that's what I tell you. A little cold didn't phase you one bit.
No, I was a little face back in them days too, Brad. You have a Merry Christmas, Brad, and a good New Year.
Yeah, we all were blessed. It's just me and the game warden here at the prison, and just go out just to get new grub and go to the doctor's office, and that's it.
That's about it. I've been up in Merlin and working on the house, leaving out in the morning.
Yeah, that's the other side of Virginia, ain't it?
Yeah, it's the other side of Virginia. Not real far. Well, hello, Miss Patty.
Mark, hi everyone.
God.
Brad, I heard that.
No, you didn't hear a thing.
Yes, I did.
God.
I heard that, Brad.
You all up in Cinnamon Creek must hear different things than I do. I don't know.
Hello, Miss Leah.
Hello, how are you?
Well, I would stay pretty good, and I ain't neither one, so I guess I'm bad and ugly.
I know you're not. I guess it's 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call the Education Committee meeting to order if everyone's okay with that. Did everybody receive a copy of the agenda?
Nope.
I didn't hear you.
Somebody say no.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
I did, Layla.
Okay, great. Does anyone have any additions or corrections? Okay, seeing none. I hear a motion to approve the
Motion to approve the agenda.
motion by Mr. Blevins. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Nancy Brown. All in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
I guess we need to back up and I need to do roll call. I left that off. Clearly, Mr. Blevins and Ms. Brown are here. Mr. Tester's present. Jerry Prophet.
Present.
Layla Ward's present. Gary Bailey.
Here.
Sonja Keller.
Present.
Ms. Keller's present. Kelly Collins.
Present.
Everyone is present. Okay. Did you receive the minutes for December's meeting along with the agenda?
Motion to accept minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Blevins. All in favor of approving December's minutes?
Aye.
Motion is approved. Is there any public on the line that would like to comment in the Education Committee tonight? With no one speaking up, is Dr. McAbee available tonight?
Hey, I just had to step out for just one
Oh,
second.
there you are. Okay, I did see you on there. Good evening.
I missed what you asked there. I apologize.
I was just making sure you were there.
Okay.
I'll turn the floor over to you at this point. I know Christmas break is coming to a close, and let the committee ask any questions, and you can give them any updates or explain to them how the reentry is going to happen.
Yeah, so plan at the last board meeting, it was decided to go ahead and start this week virtual, and then see how everything was going with the spread over Christmas break, with the hope of doing hybrid the rest of the month of January. So tomorrow I'm having a principals meeting. They had today to get all their numbers together of who's out as far as teachers and aides. And I think I heard a couple of custodians are out in different things. We're going to meet tomorrow to see if we've got enough folk to do hybrid next week. Even in my central office, I had a guy out today. And so I'm hoping to go hybrid, but I'm not going to push it if it's going to put us in a dangerous situation. So that was the decision that was made at the board meeting. Now, other than that, really, there's nothing been set in stone for this new semester. So I'll really just entertain any questions you have or comments. I was going to have somebody from the central office start coming by to give y'all updates. I thought I might get with Danny today, and I think he's one that's kind of feeling under the weather. So I don't have him with me, but we'll try to get somebody next week to give y'all some updates.
Okay, great. And your hybrid schedule, is that going to be kind of the same as the city's hybrid schedule? 50% on Monday and Tuesday, then the other 50% on Thursday and Friday?
So we do Monday, Thursday, and then a virtual day on Friday. So that's the only difference between us and Elizabethton. But that's it, 50%. That helps us to spread kids out. And then if we do have to contact trace, obviously we're only having to go around and trace half the numbers of families.
Mr. McAbee.
Yes, sir.
What about the one that's done the paper schedule now? Do they have to go during the hybrid if you have it, or do they stay on the paper schedule?
So I've met with some of the high school principals, and so if the student wants to just stay virtual and work on packets, obviously we're going to support that. What we found is some of those guys like staying at home the majority of the time, but they want to ask if they can come in just a day or two during the week to get some feedback from the teacher. So we'll do that too. So we kind of work with them, Commissioner Blevins, on how it best fits the family.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McAbee.
Yes. Any other questions or comments? We did get some preliminary numbers today, or I don't know how significant. The numbers are coming in. I hate to say how much until they give us a definite number from the State Department, but they said it should be a significant amount of money that every county in the state gets because of this new stimulus package. I think that the Congress passed and then was signed by the president on December 27th. So we should be seeing some of that money come in. I think they said middle of January toward the end of January. And I don't know if they've given any money to you guys as local government or not, but it does look like the schools are going to receive some of that.
Does anyone else have? I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Collins.
Do you have any idea how you're going to spend any of that money?
I do not. What we're going to do is get some, I'm going to meet with supervisors preliminary on Wednesday, and then pull in principals and ask principals to bring a teacher with them to the Zooms that'll be a large enough group that we can't meet in our conference room. So there'll be teachers involved, principals, and then central office folks.
Thank you.
Yeah, my hunch is, one thing I would like to see, I don't know, I think there'll be the money there. It'll be a logistical dilemma. And that is, I'd like to see a very robust summer school. Running buses, running the cafeteria, doing all of these things. The kids have missed out on a lot. And I think for the parents that perhaps need some childcare, plus parents that know my child needs an additional month or maybe 5 weeks of help, I'd love to see that happen as one thing. But again, I'm not going to drive that bus by myself. I want input from others. But just me, my first thought is to make up for some of this lost time going through some of the summer months for those kids who want to. And for the teachers, I found that a lot of times they're very happy if you pay them what they deserve, which is a regular day's pay to work through the summer, that they're more than willing to do that too.
Does anyone else have anything for Dr. McAbee?
Layla,
Go ahead, Mr. Bailey.
with the help of Dr. McAbee getting the wireless, we will be trying to get those out to the schools, the Wi-Fi hotspot starting on Wednesday. Again, he's really done great at getting this to us quick to get them in here. So we've started setting them up today, and tomorrow we're going to start giving them out Wednesday. So
Oh, wow,
that way
that's
for the
great.
county.
Yeah, Mr.
That's
Bailey,
great.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So the rest of the committee, as you talk to folk in the dollar store and at the grocery store and that kind of thing, if parents are not aware, we do have that capability to help them. I think probably about 320 total devices is what we received. Obviously, they've got to have be in an area where they get the cell service. But if they're in that area and just can't afford it, the district is set up now to help them. And Mr. Bailey and his crew down there, they're doing a good job getting that out. The principals are doing a good job of asking the families, do you need some help with this? So I think it'll be a big deal. And fingers crossed, if one of your committees, I can't remember which one it is, that's working on the broadband, if that could ever come through, Carter County would be able to help a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, it really would. Anything else from anyone? Any other new business for the Education Committee to discuss tonight? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Ward, just let me say again, as always, I appreciate what the commission does. I used to be a board member in a previous life, and the jobs y'all have and the things you do is always a thankless job. And I know, because I see the paperwork, I see the money, I see the different things, and I hear about y'all in the community, and y'all call me and give me support. So let me always reiterate, I appreciate all you do to help the school.
Oh, thank you, sir. And we appreciate everything you're doing. We can really see a positive change already in things that are happening and the attention you've been able to address during this pandemic. It's been very stressful for everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Was there a second to Mr. Blevin's motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of adjourning the Education Committee and moving on to Landfill? Okay, we'll adjourn at 6:11. Thank you, Dr. McAbee, for being here. Have a nice evening.
Thanks.
All right, I guess we'll go into Landfill. Is everybody ready to go forward?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. I guess we can skip roll call because we've done we'll call it to order, but roll call, we've done called it in. So do we have an approval for the agenda?
Motion to approve.
We need a second?
Second.
Okay, Mark. I guess you're. The acceptance of basically December's minutes.
I made a motion to approve the minutes.
Now we have a motion to approve the minutes. We have a second.
Second.
Hey, Gary, you got something going on with your mic. It sounds awful.
Copy me.
You got a lot of back feed from something in there.
All right. Do we have any public comments by anybody? Anybody on here for the public? All right, seeing and hearing none. Under old business,
Gary,
building update on the RFP for the building.
Gary, you need to back up and make sure the approving of the minutes was approved by everybody.
Okay, all right. It all cut out real bad with Jury right there. So, all right, we have a motion, a first and a second. Do I hear all in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Okay. All right. Under the old business, we had the building update for an RFP for Benny's building. They moved the money in budget last month, and we set that aside. We have met with the fire marshal, the city, I guess, inspector down there, and we've got that straightened out, and we are writing the RFP, trying to get that out this week for that building. They've told us the restrictions, and I think we're going to be okay in the size. So just letting everybody know, we will try to send that RFP out for the building this week. All right. The second thing is the landfill rates. There's a lot of paperwork went out from Brad Burke basically in the last hour. Did everybody receive that paperwork?
Yes.
Okay, Layla's got it. Miss Collins, did you receive it?
I'm looking right now. I didn't get it. I didn't check in the past hour.
So, Miss Collins, you didn't get it from Abby, the latest report from Brad?
I'm checking. I might have, but I didn't check in the past hour. I'd already pulled up your other ones. Let me look.
Okay. Well, he sent another one out basically to me, and I sent it to Abby to send, and it went out on our county email. Basically, there's 3 options in there. But in those options, if you'll read at the top, there's an estimated cost for the demolition of landfill, basically, and then there's a cost of what it's costing us, and a cost for the future of what it's going to cost us. Guys, it's pretty substantial, but the thing is, the numbers has come up. We've got to go up for him to survive. It's just way beyond what we could imagine. If you look at the total cost, we have a recommendation from Mr. Burke, our finance director. One of them is for $51.75. One of them is for $52.53, and one is for $55.20. Now, at the bottom, in the conclusion from Mr. Burke, in my opinion, the most reasonable estimated cost done is $55.20 based on the financial year of his operation. So in his Mr. Burke's own opinion, our finance director come back and said that he thinks we need to be at $55.20 for the trash for us to survive.
Gary, did you send out a different one than what you sent out last week? Because I don't have those kind of figures on my paper.
Man, that was a roar. It should have come from Abby.
Yeah, that's where mine came from, was Abby.
And it should have said an updated one. I think you got it.
Mine has 2 figures, 52.54 and 50.64. I didn't get anything over the no show. Once it came in today.
Yeah, your mic's all to pieces or something. I can't understand nothing you're saying. I don't know what you're doing.
All right, can you understand me now better?
Yeah, I can understand.
Okay, who did not get the email from Brad?
I did not, Prophet.
Okay, well, actually, from Brad sent it to me and I sent it on.
Benny Lyons, I did not get it.
I've got a new phone. I haven't quite learned how to operate it yet. That's probably my fault.
Okay, Mr. Tester, did you get it?
Yes, sir, I did it. I got it late this evening. Sonia, it should have come in about an hour and a half ago or something like that. It was very late.
I'm looking at the email right now on the other computer. I don't see anything. Last one I had was the 31st. So I did get the cardboard and the paper report, but I didn't get the breakdown for the raise the increase.
All right, well, let's see here. So you have the old one though.
It should, Gary, it should have came from Abby.
Yeah, it should have been from
Sonja. I just sent it to you. I forwarded it on to Sonja again.
Okay.
If anybody else doesn't have it, I can forward it right now. Who needs it? Benny?
Yeah, Benny needs it, Patty.
Yes, please.
I'm sending it, Benny.
Thank you.
Wonder why it didn't go to everybody.
I don't know.
That's my fault, Prophet.
Okay, we'll accept that.
Right before Abby's came through. I don't know why there was a delay on it, but I see it now. Thank you.
Okay. I'll tell you what. If you all want to take a few minutes to read that and look over it, I don't care for us to drop on down if you want to, and we'll talk about the bailer while you look at this, if you would like to do that for a second to look over it. Benny, are you on here?
Yes, sir.
Well, then if you can, would you go on and talk to everybody while they're looking at this and just go on and give them a report on the bailer?
I sure will. I have turned in the specs to Miss Marcia Fletcher in the finance office, and she is preparing the RFP to be sent out. We'll try to bid this out instead of using the source well to see if we can get it any cheaper. So I look for the bid to be, the RFP to be put out sometime this week. Me and Marcia have emailed back and forth today with some of the different, just tidying up some things on it. So hopefully it will go out this week.
Okay. Well, I will have to sit and say, I was down there the other day and you're doing an excellent job. And Lord, you've got so much cardboard down there that we've got to get you another one in a building to put this in because the doors wouldn't hardly close. So.
Hey, Benny.
And we actually started today moving things around in there to where that we can get ready. Yes, sir.
What are we looking at once we get purchased? What are we looking at time-wise, getting this put in and set up and operational?
6 weeks, Mark, Mr. Blevins, 6 weeks.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you, Benny.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, if all of you all have those emails, you just want to look at them just a little bit more. You can see the difference, and each one of them has a adjusted total estimated at the top and why he come to that conclusion. So, in short, we've got to go up. It's just, what does this committee want to set that rate at? Now, I am going to ask this committee to consider one thing. This is just trash. I want to go back and look at demolition rate over the next 6 months to see if we need to raise demolition rate. I'm asking the demolition rate to stay right now at $42.50, what it already is. This is just the household trash rate. because that seems to be where the biggest cost is coming in. So,
Hey, Gary, can I speak on that for a second?
yes, sir.
As bad as I hate to throw a wrench in what's happening there, if you go setting the demolition price other than what you set the trash price at, it's going to confuse people more because people comes in there with mixed loads. And by saying that, they may have their trash underneath their decking material. So if when you weigh it in, you weigh it in as one, and they're right now they're charged the same price for both. I believe that may really confuse people if you go setting different prices for demolition versus trash.
Well, I mean, right now the trash seems to be the one we're losing the money on. The demolition seems to be where you're kind of making some. I mean, I know you're making it in recycling, but
Hey, Gary.
Yes, sir.
Well, couldn't we maybe take a month and have a sign posted that not maybe to bring demolition separate from the household trash?
To me,
do something like
to me, I have no problem. I don't know what it's going to put on Beanie.
Gary, this is Sean.
We're getting a lot of back.
We're getting.
I don't think it should be. There's nobody here making noise.
Gary, you're getting all back something.
I'm sorry, I can't look and say.
Everybody else getting the back feed from Gary.
Oh, that sounds good.
Okay.
Well, my ears might need a recess after that.
Okay. All right, Benny, are you still there?
Yeah, barely. Let me check my ears.
Okay, tell me something. Is that going to put a burden on you?
I think it will tremendously because these people, when they have to pay anyways, they're not the happiest people in the world. And when you go telling them they got to pay, go unload their demolition and then come back and weigh out and unload their trash and weigh out again, they're not going to be happy.
Well, so you're recommending you yourself that we set the rate the same?
Well, that's the only way to keep the chaos from happening.
Gary, if somebody borrows a truck to take a load of items down there, they're not gonna want to borrow the truck twice, once to take garbage and once to take demolition. So.
I understand.
There are people going to get upset about having to go back and get different items.
Yeah, I agree with you. The only thing is I hate to raise that rate that much on demolition to what Brad's saying we need.
What about
Mr. Bailey?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'm just thinking here out of the box here. Our demolition, a lot of it comes in the rented roll-offs that we provide and Benny rents, from my understanding. If that was set at the demolition rate for the roll-offs, for the for all the contractors, people like that use this service a lot. If that was set just demolition at a low, at whatever the committee decides, would that not work? And then just have the trash and the rest of it just at a set rate? I'm talking about just the roll-offs that they rent the roll-offs or charge so much a ton for it.
Right. Benny, what do you think? I mean, would that make it easier on you?
Well, and again, with the roll-offs, we do rent them out like that. But then again, sometimes they put trash on the back of them and demolition up in the front. That way you can dump the trash out in the transfer station and take the demolition on up on the hill.
Okay, Gary.
That's a touchy subject right there as far as splitting the prices up. And here's another reason I'm saying this. Demolition's making money right now. But in 5 years, when we don't have no room to put any more demolition is going to have to be hauled out. So that's something you want to think about.
Well, see, that's the part of Brad Burke's paper right there at the end. It's kind of adding some of this to it with the cost of the closing and where and when. And, you know, I mean, do we go on and look at that and try to start working on that now for the future? Or, I mean, his recommendation is 5520. I just think I'm all for you being self 100% funded. And if you need a dozer or you need a trace compactor or whatever, that money's there, but we don't have to keep asking for that money. We've got to get this where it's taking care of itself. And I think you're getting there. I just don't know at that rate. But on the other hand, I'm not agreeing with the low one if it's not going to cover it. And that's the part to where this committee's going to have to come to an agreement. So I'm asking the floor right now to anybody out there, what is their recommendation? You want to have the paperwork in front of you.
Gary, if I may speak.
Yes, ma'am.
It concerns me raising it up that high at one whack. I understand we need to raise the rate, but I just wonder if we need to consider raising it part of that amount and then maybe talking to the budget committee about putting in a penny to the landfill every year, or put it through the recycling program, or do something different, because that's a big jump, and I'm afraid people will be upset and they'll just start throwing it off the side of the road again.
Hey, Gary.
Yes, sir.
What's it costing the county? Summer's around $22 a ton more to get rid of it than what we're taking in. Am I correct?
Well, it depends on, are we going with the city's numbers or Blue Ridge's?
Yeah, well, cities, say if you're going to go right now, city's under contract. Okay, with Blue Ridge, what's it costing us? What are we charging a ton? And how much is it costing us to get rid of a ton?
Okay, what is exactly Blue Ridge's rate right now? 36 something? Right at that, somewhere right in there.
I thought it was 32. Is that right, Benny?
I'm wanting to say 33 or 34. It's more than 32.
Okay, let's just say 34 for rounded out numbers, because I got numbers all day going through my head through some of this. Brad Burke's saying it's costing us $52.50 to break even.
Well, if it's costing us $52.50 to break even.
Yes.
Other words, the taxpayers of Carter County is paying Blue Ridge and these other companies to stay in business, correct?
In short, yes.
Okay.
Well, in long, short, however you want to look at it, it's costing us money to get rid of it.
Okay, if they're paying $34 and we're paying $52.50, then you can do the math on it, and it's costing us roughly $18.50 to $20 extra to get rid of it. So if we don't set this at least $52.50, then, you know, we're paying these other people to stay in business. And I don't think the taxpayers wants to pay Blue Ridge and these other companies to stay in business. So I don't know. I mean, you can discuss it or whatever, but I'll put it in the form of a motion to raise it to $52.50.
Do I hear a second?
I second that, Profit.
All right, then I guess we'll vote on it for $52.50. We got a first and a second. All right, Kelly Collins.
No.
No. Layla
Is that
Ward.
for demolition and trash?
Do what, Miss Kohler? Do what,
Yes.
Miss Kohler?
Did you answer my
Demolition
question,
and
Gary?
trash.
I'm losing them for something.
She's asking if it's for the demolition and trash or
Yes,
just the
this is
trash
the whole
rate.
total. This has been the total rate. The whole across the scale will be $52.50. Okay, we had Miss Collins was no. Layla Ward.
No, I think that's just a huge jump at one time. Maybe we could discuss doing it in intervals or something. I don't know, but right now I have to be a no.
Okay, Nancy Brown.
I can't do it right now because I felt like the demolition, yeah, but not the trash. So no.
All right, Mark Blevins.
Yes.
Mark Tester.
Yes.
Jerry Prophet.
Yes.
Sonja
Yes.
Kohler.
No.
And me, Gary, I'm a yes. So we have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 yeses and 4 nos. So it fails. All right, we're gonna have to set a rate. Somebody come up with something. Brad
Mr.
Burke's
Bailey?
numbers then was setting it at.
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes, sir, Mr. Tester.
I do realize that this is a big jump. It's $12.70 some a rate if you go to the 55.20. I do realize that's a large jump, and I get it. But there has not been an increase, according to Mr. Lyons, for like 12 or 13 years on some of this stuff. And the 55.20 was actually just the cost it's costing us to do this with the cost of closing the existing landfill. And so, I mean, I don't want to try to make money on this thing or get rich off of it, but we at least need to cover our cost in some way or form or fashion in order to, to operate. And that's just my thoughts. Thank y'all.
Well, if we're going to pay these people to get rid of their trash, Blue Ridge and stuff, why we are just let them dump it out and don't charge them nothing.
All right, I got to have a rate here. I mean, or we're just going to have to leave it where it's at and do something here. But one thing about it, we're in January. In 6 months, Benny's going to have to be coming and asking for money. And then at some point, we've either got to get this through it or he's going to have to ask budget again. So, I mean.
Why do we need to give the landfill any more money if they're going to pay somebody to dump their trash? That's what I don't understand. The taxpayers don't mind, that they're going to be mad because when they find out we're paying Blue Ridge and these other contractors, we're hiring them. They ain't paying us. We're hiring them to come in and dump their trash.
Benny, if I can ask something here, and I don't know, I may be in the wrong here.
Go ahead, Gary.
I wish Brad was on here because, maybe we could drop the rates and the demolition could cover it a little bit, but on the other hand, at some point, where do you say just break even is? You know, that's the hard part. Because right now,
Chairman Bailey,
which one's making it, which one ain't?
Chairman Bailey,
Yes, sir, Mr. Hill.
why don't y'all come up with a plan to do a gradual increase over 2 or 3 years at like 5% a year for the next 3 or 4 years?
I'll entertain anything right now, just as long as it's going up and getting us out of this.
Well, if you do that, is it still costing the county money for over the next 5 years?
Yep.
Still gonna be costing the taxpayers money.
When is the city's contract up?
Miss Brown, I think they have 4 years left on it.
Oh, man.
And then they have an option to go another 5 after that.
But at the Mr. Lyons, after that, when this is up, we can renegotiate the rates, though. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 4 years.
Mr. Lyons, have you asked for money for a budget or just money for equipment?
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's primarily been for equipment to update some of the outdated equipment.
Okay, I didn't remember you asking money last year when I was on budget just for budget purposes, just for equipment, but I mean, I could be wrong. I just wanted to double check that.
Ms. Collins, I know we've updated a couple of machines and some of the trucks we've purchased to make some different things happen there that hopefully will save us money in the long run. Purchasing a trucking company that we purchased, the county commission did help us do that. They bought a loader for demolition 12 years ago. They bought a new loader for the transfer station last year. So it's primarily, I mean, a lot of the big costs that I've come to the commission to ask for is for heavy equipment to that's wore out.
Hey, Benny, how old was some of that equipment before you replaced it?
Well, I'm pretty sure it was there when the landfill was open.
But I mean, in Benny's defense, he has had some old junk. I mean, I'm going to back him with that. Yeah. But this is what we're trying, I think, to get to is what it's costing now for him to keep going forward. Because in 4 years, when that new loader is tore up, where's the money come from to buy another new one? When that roll-off truck that I've talked to him the other day that he said he could really benefit from it, where does it come from for another new one? You know, at some point you have depreciational values, and I think that's what we got to look at. I mean, Brad put this in that. Those options is depreciated what it's costing. Now, if you'll look at that, that is depreciational values. That's to keep him where he's at with the equipment that he's got. But right or wrong, it's got to pay for itself, or it's going to have to come from somewhere. Because at some point, if you're only bringing in 50 and you're spending 60, you're going to be broke.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm asking you all, lay it out there. We've got to get something.
Well, Mr. Bailey, other departments don't seem to mind to call and ask for new SUVs and new vehicles. So why would Benny be any different?
Well, as far as some of the vehicles, it isn't. But now when you look at it as far as like this, when they call and ask for a vehicle, if he wanted a truck, $30,000, but when you want a loader and it's 170 is a big difference. Benny, what did you tell me a roll-off truck would cost you?
They're right at $170,000.
Well, don't they last longer than some of these trucks and SUVs that we purchased?
Well, the roll-off we've got, the extra roll-off we've got is over 1 million miles on it, and it was there when I came. And I think it was the only one that the landfill's ever had.
How long have you been with landfill, Benny?
I think I've been there almost 13 years.
I mean, at some point, we've got to start costing of what it takes to take care of it. I mean, a cruiser, they run them up and down the roads all day long. You're talking $40,000 for a car. You can buy 5 cars for what his roll-off cost. It's just bigger business, bigger money, bigger equipment.
Well, they're also budgeted money too in those departments. They're also budgeted extra money for things like that too, that Benny's not budgeted for.
But is the law enforcement and these other departments, are they in the same boat the landfill is, paying somebody else to? We're paying to get her. The whole point is it's costing us. We're paying them to stay in business. And
Guys,
I don't think that's right.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes, sir.
If my recollection is not wrong, last year on budget, that we took over $200,000 out of the general fund to supplement Benny's budget. I think it was, don't hold me to this, it's like $220,000 or $40,000 was taken out of the general fund and put into his budget to balance his budget this year.
That is correct.
That's somewhere that was my recollection. If I may be wrong, so it was almost, if I remember correctly, 3 cents on the tax dollar. So it was $220,000 or $30,000 was taken out of the general fund to help with his budget. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit that, but that's just.
How much of that was for equipment though?
That was for a loader, I do believe.
I do not know that answer, Ms. Collins. I don't know. I didn't know. I just remember the number. I don't know whether it's for equipment or what it was for, but I do remember us doing that. I think the loader was the year before that they took money out.
Yes.
I believe it was the year before.
Yep.
That they took the money out for the loader. I do recall that. But this last year, we took out somewhere between 200 and 240,000. I don't have the exact numbers, and out of the general fund, and subsidizes the landfill budget.
Mr. Tester, it was $219,698.
Thank you, Travis.
All right. If I can, my only worry in this whole thing is this one statement. We went through this a few months ago, and Josh Harden made it real clear that we cannot set one rate for one person and somebody else with a different one. He told us that we needed to straighten this out. And everybody wanted this report to wait on Brad Burke. Brad's turned in the report. Now, we don't have to follow this number. But the one thing I am asking this board to do, if you just want to keep it at 4250 and we walk away and everybody's disappointed and unhappy and he asked us for money, that's fine. But I am asking this board that we across the board set this rate to where it is not subsidizing a private business. Because he made it clear we cannot charge one person one rate and somebody else another one. So that is my recommendation. Come up with some number that we're all going to be happy with, but one way or the other, we cannot charge a private company one rate and have somebody else something else. We are a government business. Whatever that rate is, it's across the board to everybody.
Now, what is the city paying right now, Gary? 38?
Benny, do you know exactly what their rate is right now?
Theirs is 35 and some change, I think. But it goes up in July.
What does it go to?
It increases like 75 cents a ton.
but they are under contract, and that is a little bit different. Now, I agree theirs has got to go up, but they are under a contract that we've agreed to. But everybody else is not. And that's the part that's worrying me about what Josh said. We cannot do what we're doing. So
It's not fair. It's really not fair. Benny, did you have any idea that we was losing money like we was when they found out this, when Brad found this out?
Miss Brown, I have religiously went to every one of the finance directors before I did pricing with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they've always helped me as well as the previous attorney. We took them the pricing. They had no problem with it being different from other people when we done this.
Well, now that we know we've got an issue, we need to fix this. I mean, literally, I'm like them. I don't care to set a rate and go with it or whatever we have to do, but it's what's fire's fire.
And I agree. I mean, you know, you can't give Big Macs away every day and make money, so you can't do garbage the same way.
Now, Mr. Bailey,
yes, sir.
on this, when we man, ought to made it exactly clear. On individual bag trash, we're not raising it, correct?
No, this is going to cross the scale at the landfill per tonnage.
Per tonnage, okay, not the individual trash bags, okay.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes, sir.
I know this won't stop all the bleeding, and I'm gonna make a motion to set it at $52 a ton and try to see how we stand from there.
I'll second that motion.
We have a first and a second. All right, let's go down the road. Layla Ward.
I'm sorry, can you clarify the motion?
It's just, Layla, it's to set it at $52 even.
No.
Okay, Layla is a no. Nancy Brown.
As bad as I hate to, yes.
All right, we have a yes. Mark Blevins.
Yes.
Mark Tester.
Yes.
Jerry Prophet.
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
No.
Sonja Kohler.
No.
And I'm a yes also. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 5 yeses and 3 nos to set the rate at $52. All right. I guess that clears that up.
Hey, Mr. Bailey, let me ask you a question on that. I know it's still got to go through, I guess, budget and the regular commission. What date do we want to entertain putting this in effect at the gate?
I personally would like for us to get with Brad just a little bit in case there's something is here and there, but I'm going to let the board vote on this, but I personally would like to see the 1st of March. Gives a little bit of time.
I'll make a motion at the rates, if it passes through full commission, to start at the 1st of March.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we have a first and a second. All right, Kelly Collins.
No.
No. Layla Ward.
No.
Nancy Brown.
Yes.
Mark Blevins.
Yes.
Jerry Prophet.
Yes.
Mark Tester.
Yes.
Ms. Kohler,
No.
and I'm a yes also. So it's the same results. 5 yeses, 3 nos. 5-3, March the 1st at $52. All right. Any new business? All right, hearing none, director's report.
Mr. Bailey, I'll let the report stand as far as the trash and all that I sent out to you guys.
Okay.
As far as the recycling, I'll let that stand as my report for tonight.
All right, thank you. Commissioner comments.
Benny, can you check on and find out exactly when that front loader was purchased?
Yes, ma'am. I will check in the morning.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Benny, may I address you, please? Prophet.
Why, you certainly can.
Okay, I was in Johnson County last week, and I had a pretty long discussion with one of the officials there. And I think quite some time ago, you and I discussed the reallocation of surplus from military agencies. Is that correct? Do you remember
Yes,
that?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, what I questioned has been in effect in Johnson County. And that person that I discussed this with has the numbers and contacts which we could notify in reference to acquiring some maybe really needed equipment for your agency. And also a clarification was that the sheriff of each county has to accept that as his own property as such. And then he, in turn, issues that to individual county agencies or agencies. And that has been running very smoothly. And I just wondered if maybe you and I could get together sometime and I could get some numbers and we could go over this. Phone
Mr.
numbers.
Prophet, that would tickle
Sir.
me to death. We could, like I say, we could use a dozer and some other stuff up there with some of the things we're doing at the landfill. We could use another skid steer. There's several things that we could use off of the surplus list.
Well,
to help with what we do.
Well, that would all come about only with the agreement with our sheriff, if he would go along with that. That would be the only stipulation in this, and we could probably discuss it with him, see what he has to say about it, and so on and so forth. Get the numbers first, and we can talk to these agencies, military agencies, and see what they can offer. And they do show you pictures online of stuff, whatever, and it's given. It's not cost. It doesn't cost anything.
That'd be good.
And I'm assuming that since military bases are just like cities, they would have probably every piece of equipment that you might need for operating the landfill.
We could certainly ask them and see.
Well, we can shoot for the moon, is all I can say. We can try.
That's right.
That's all I'd say. Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Gary.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Gary.
Yes, sir.
I just want to thank Jerry Prophet there for going out and doing this. I think that would be a good access for the landfill and for the county. And I just want to thank him for taking his time and going out and doing this.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
If I can say one thing here while everybody's on here, and Benny, you're on here. The other day, me and you talked about something, and this is why I think we've got to get this right. You told me your dozer's how many years old? The dozer, not your new wheel loader.
Well, now we don't have a dozer now. We've got a track loader, and it is it's right at 12 years old, and it's already got right at 14,000 hours on it.
Okay.
10,000 is when they tell you to start rebuilding the engines and the undercarriages on them.
Okay. How much does one of them cost?
That one there was I'm wanting to say, Gary, don't hold me to this, but I'm thinking close to 230, 240.
$240,000.
Yes, sir.
That's like fresh.
And you told me how old is your roll-off truck?
Well, now we've got one brand new roll-off truck. We bought it when the garage burnt down. And then the other roll-off truck is a 95 model.
Okay. And how much is one of them?
About 170.
All right.
Now that's what the new one was when we bought it last year or so. So they may have went up a little bit by now.
Okay, and you said a 95, so that's 2005. So is that right? Did you say 95?
Yes, sir.
So 95, 25. So it's 15, 16 years old.
Well, 95 to 2005 is 10. 2005 to 2015 is 20. So it's 25 years old.
Okay, yeah.
You get to take time for it.
Sorry, I missed 10 there. All right, and then you told me you needed how many dumpsters?
Well, roll-offs. Our roll-offs have been there pretty much since right when I first took over, and they're starting to get rusty and they're rusting through and stuff. So.
Okay, but how much are they, and you needed how many?
They're right at I think $4,000 a piece.
And you said you needed how many?
10 would do.
Okay, that's 40 more.
I better quit right there, Gary.
No, I'm just I want everybody to realize what it's costing to run thing, and that this price just keeps coming because your equipment was wore out when you got it. And if we're going to try to keep it running, you have to have it. So you said you needed a tractor and trailer. Also, your other ones, you got one, but you said one more would put you in a lot better. And they're
our tractor and trailers, they go down on a daily basis on us. We're constantly fixing them, putting Band-Aids on them. So
that's why we're trying to fix this, where you don't have to Band-Aid it. How much is?
Oh, I know.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes, ma'am.
The point is, if Benny had been taken care of a little bit every year for many years, like all our other departments, he wouldn't be in this shape right now.
Gary Bailey.
Yes, sir.
I know this don't concern the meeting right now, but the highway has been canceled for this month. The highway meeting has been canceled in case you didn't get the email today.
Okay, I got it. But just to finish this out, so Benny, you're saying a tractor and trailer would run you another 120,000?
Easily if you bought a new one.
Okay, so let's just say 120. So we're up to $570,000 for you really to operate efficiently.
Mr. Bailey, you could ask the highway department to do the same thing and come up with twice that amount. I'm not real sure what the point is of this.
The point is over the years,
wish list.
Over the years, the highway gets money in their budget and it's laid in there.
Exactly.
Okay, but here's the difference.
That's what we've been saying.
But here's the difference between some of that is you've got to get to this point. Are we going to maintain that they are self-funded or not? Because that was the argument that people had.
Was the highway self-funded?
So you want to raise taxes?
Well, I mean, you're comparing two different things right now, but they both need equipment if they're going to run.
I'm just putting it out there that there's some stuff that we've got to look at that how this costs. When you was talking about the cars, it's different apples to different apples because we can afford 30,000, but we can't afford 200,000 or 300,000 every year.
Well, that's why we should have been putting some of it back a little bit at a time each year instead of waiting until everything fell apart.
Ma'am.
Gary?
Yes, sir.
I got a question for Benny. Benny, has this always been an ongoing problem? I mean, it's been a problem for the last 2 years that we've all been on here, us newest members, but it seems like this goes back into past commissions that this fault has fell
Mr.
upon.
Hill, as long as I've been there, I've honestly tried to cut corners and do things to where I wouldn't have to be a burden to the rest of the county.
Thank you, Benny. I know you do a great job and cut corners as much as you can. I appreciate that.
I can answer
Thank
that
you, sir.
question, Travis. Benny, there was no money given to the landfill except running. When I first came on the commission, every month they came and asked for 25,000 or 50,000, and as everybody knows, things were being stolen right and left at that time. But as far as equipment, no equipment was bought. No major money was put into it. But when Benny took over, we quit having to put a monthly amount into the budget. And Benny took over all the old equipment, did the best he could do, maintained it as much as he could. And he didn't come and ask for money like the other directors had been doing.
Thank you, Ms. Culler.
I appreciate him for that because he has done well with what he's had. I'm just sitting here saying that if we can get this to where it's at, look at where we can be as how this is going. So I just wanted everybody to be aware that there's still needs that he's going to need, and I'm sure he's not going to ask us for that. That was my point, is everybody's got needs, but is it a want or a need? And that's the difference. So, but I appreciate all that he's done, and I appreciate everybody on here for attending. They've been great.
Benny?
Benny, I think you've done a tremendous job the last 2 years that I've been on, and you've done a tremendous job. And I don't doubt your work ethic and how you're doing things. Just something that we got to get a hold of, and you're doing a good job.
Benny, thank you for all you are doing, but you have sat on the back burner for a long time, and it's time that you get up front and you ask for what you need in your budget this year.
All right. Anybody else?
Don't be bashful, Benny. Jump out of the closet and lay it on us.
Well, I'm trying not to be bashful, but I don't want to,
Motion to adjourn.
I second that.
All right. I guess this will be the end of it. All
Merry
approved?
Christmas.
Thank you, Al.
Merry Christmas.